Good morning, everybody. Mark Finan here in the home weather office on this Friday morning. It is now the 6th day of September 2024, and this is the morning briefing. We do have another very warm day in store with temperatures likely to top 100 degrees in the Sacramento area. But after today, we will start to get a break as we head into the weekend. For the record, today will be the 41st day this year with temperatures at or above 100. It's only the third time that Sacramento's had more than 40 days in a year with temperatures at or above 100 degrees. We did it, of course, 2 years ago when we had 44, and back in 1988 we had 41, so we'll tie that mark during the course of the day today. After that, we will start to see a break, and there is a chance. I'm not a gambling person. I don't think I put money on it, but there's a chance, anyway, that this could be our last 100 of the year. The average date for our last 100 is around September 10th. But again, I wouldn't put money on that, but that part of the year is certainly coming. Let's see what's happening this morning. We do have mainly clear skies. It's still a little bit hazy. There are fires burning to the south still. They continue to put smoke into the air. But the other thing you'll notice here is that we have a fair amount of this monsoon moisture coming up over Southern California, surging to the north. And this will certainly impact areas around Yosemite today and toward Mono Lake and Bodie and areas like that. However, with the flow beginning to turn a little bit more southwesterly, it looks as though we will not see this get all the way up toward the Sacramento area, but instead any threat of showers would likely be maybe along Highway 395 south of Bridgeport and farther to the east. So it looks like this moisture is going to come up from the south and then get scooted off this way as we start to see more of a flow out of the west and southwest. That should also help to clear up some of the haze that's been in our area. The Bear Fire isn't really putting up any smoke. We're still looking at the two fires. I think it's the Boone Fire and the Coffee Pot Fire that are burning to the south that give us that occasional haze. So let's talk a little bit about the hot temperatures that we're seeing right now. And I want to show you this chart. I showed you this a few days ago, but just it's always nice to look at this and kind of take stock of where we are. These are the high and low temperatures on any given day going back to January, and this is where we are right now. Here's the heat that we had in July. With all those days at or above 100, this line right here is 100 degrees. Here's the cooler weather we had for a little while in August. And then here's our most recent spike with temperatures going above 100, 106 2 days ago, 103 yesterday. We'll likely see temperatures around 100 to 103 again during the course of the day today. But if you look at this line, this is where the records are. That's that heat we had back in 2022. And then this green line is the average. So look at where we are. We really are on the cusp of seeing temperatures drop off rather dramatically here. So when I talk about the temperatures being above 100 today and there's a chance that it could be our last 100 of the season, I'm really looking at this sort of the averages. In a couple of days, the average high will slip below 90 degrees, and then the average high as we go through the end of the month is in the 80s, and then look at how quickly that drops off as we head through the month of October. October really is that month where we can start relatively warm with highs in the 90s, or maybe as high as 100 degrees, and then by the end of the month, you usually see highs in the 60s and 70s. So we really are getting there, and so when we talk about another day with temperatures around 100 degrees, and being the 41st day of the year, that sort of thing. And it's like, oh man, I can't wait for this to be over. And I see the comments that many of you leave that you can't wait for this to be over. Well, it's coming. And actually, we're going to get a little taste of that here coming up. So let's show you what's happening. We still have this big ridge here at 500 millibars. This little trough coming through right here is going to help to bring in some cooler breezes as we head through the day tomorrow especially, and help to lower temperatures back into the 90s. Nothing, big time cooling. It'll still be warm this weekend, with highs a little bit above average, but we should stay below 100 degrees over the weekend. And so as we head into the middle part of next week, the things look a little bit more interesting. And a couple of days ago, we were talking about the chance of rain as we head into the middle part of next week. And I'll show you the thinking on that here in just a second. But either way, this trough coming inland would bring in cooler temperatures, likely into the 80s, but how cool it will get will depend on the path of this. And by that I mean, this is the most recent run, the 6Z run. And this run, as we get into Wednesday night and Thursday, has the low a little bit farther inland. So the low is centered here over eastern Oregon, and that gives us dry north flow, and that would not produce any rain. Some of the other models have had that low shifted just a little bit farther to the west, which would actually make it cooler for Northern California and bring in the chance of rain. So if you've been seeing a chance of rain for next week, well, let me show you what the models are looking at and why there is going to continue to be, excuse me, continue to be some uncertainty over the next few days. So this is the most recent run, the one I just showed you, and this is how it depicts the precipitation. You notice how on Wednesday night and Thursday morning, it's all here where the low is. There's nothing in California, in Northern California for the most part, other than maybe a shower in Lassen County. So that's really, really dry right there. So that's the most recent run, but it doesn't mean it's the best run or the most accurate run. So what I'm going to do is, I'll have to go back and forth here. Let's take a look at last night's run. So we'll go back and look at the run 6 hours earlier, the 0Z run. This run was also dry for next Wednesday, Thursday. All right, so the last two runs have been relatively dry. Let's go back another 6 hours. So this is the 18Z run from yesterday, and this run was quite a bit wetter. So this is, again, Wednesday night, Thursday. And that would definitely bring a chance of rain to areas like Sacramento and Grass Valley and Lake Tahoe. And I'll go back to the 12Z run from yesterday, and it looks just about the same. So over the last 24 hours, we've seen the runs go from something like this, which is relatively wet, especially in areas north of Interstate 80. So that was yesterday morning's run. And then as we get into the overnight run from last night, as you can see, that same time period is pretty dry. You know, we are still in the, we're still far enough away from that what we often see is the models in an extended period of time, 7 to 10 days, will hint at something coming. And then as it gets a little bit closer, maybe 4 or 5 days out, the models will back off, only in the, let's say 48 to 60 hour time frame to come back to that solution. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, and it's all going to depend on the track of that low. A more easterly track would keep us completely dry. A more westerly track would at least bring a chance of showers to areas like Butte County and Plumas County and points north. I think the model run I showed you from yesterday morning was probably too wet. So that's next week. But either way, even if we do not see any rain, what we will see is cooler weather for next week, and beyond the hot day today with temperatures at or above 100, it does look as though we will see some more comfortable weather for the next few days. Whether or not today's going to be our last 100, we'll see. We're getting to that time of year. That's everything I've got for you this morning. Just one note, I'll be traveling the next couple of weeks. I may be able to fire up the remote weather office. Not sure. I'll have to see how connections go and all that sort of thing. But so I'll try to do some updates from the road. But if I don't, keep in mind, I will be back eventually. I'm just taking advantage of a little bit of retirement time. Make it a great day. Have a great weekend. I'll talk with you later.